This is the Voice of the Liberal, brought to you by the Fountain Street Church of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
This morning's sermon by Senior Minister David Rankin, Let Freedom Ring.
After reading the historic documents of the United States of America, where freedom is touted as a primary moral value, I am always puzzled by the modern reality of dogmatic churches, of repressive families, of coercive companies, of authoritarian leaders, of secretive governments. And as I watch the summer political conventions, I realize that what people want is a free ride, but not a free mind. What people want is a free market, but not a free religion. That people want a free lunch, but not a free country. I did not hear of a new birth of freedom, but of a new covenant and a new world order. And I felt like an alien in a strange land. Do we really desire freedom? After all, it is messy. It is difficult. It allows no rest. It breeds uncertainty. It devours and demands. It challenges authority. It breaks down tradition. It requires a nimble spirit. Perhaps of all things that human beings fear, the one that strikes them with an utterly demoralizing terror is freedom. What we want is a semblance of freedom, not its reality. What we want is an illusion of freedom and not its burdens. What we want is a selfish freedom and not its equal application. In our nation, we are suffering a spiritual recession, a failure to invest in the structures of freedom. During the summer months, I also listened to the television preachers. And I learned about the need for law and order, jails and prisons, wealth and security, sanctions and censorship. And I wondered what Bible they owned. In mine, Adam and Eve assert their freedom from a tormenting deity. In mine, the Hebrew tribe seeks its liberty from the slavery in Egypt. In mine, the prophets curse the bonds of riches and power and injustice. And in mine, a little child is born, who will loose the chains of oppression. My Bible is the story of a struggle toward human liberation. And freedom is the theme which ties everything else together. That is why James proclaimed, "You will be judged by the law of liberty." And the early Christians opposed slavery, resisted the military, and refused to worship the emperor, a band of radical dissidents. Of course, it is always subverted, everywhere. The spirit of freedom is only a brief interlude in the long drama of religious repression. What begins as wild, scandalous, and revolutionary, an explosive ferment, soon attains fortune, acceptability, and popularity, allied with the powerful. And then becomes arid and grotesque and avaricious, a dragooning organization, only to end as a flight from the cries of reality into credulity, prayer fests, inner stroking, and evasion of the original revelation. Once a protest on behalf of emancipation, it concludes by sacralizing political propaganda, gives blessings to oligarchies, and then sinks into a listless conformity. And so today, anyone can be a Christian. Well, I believe in the gospel of freedom. I was born into freedom. I was raised in freedom. I was married into freedom. I was ordained into freedom. And I cannot breathe without freedom. For me, it is the greenhouse for all the flowers of the Spirit, the setting for growth, the climate for change, the atmosphere for creativity. And there is no peace or justice or happiness without the invigorating air of freedom. If it is not everything, it is essential to everything worthwhile. What is freedom?